got a sock in my mouth.
Start doing vocal exercises.
Hey folks, this is Nick. We're back with week 2 with Rikki here. We do a lot of behind the scenes stuff with manufacturers and kind of what we do out in the field. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about the customer service side of what Rikki does. On the front lines of answering the phones.
Lots of phone calls.
Lots of phone calls. So, yesterday you talked about there's basically 3 types of mostly calls that you pick up. And those 3 types are product support, where people are asking questions either before or after about what they purchased, or order support, which is damaged, lost, returns, anything that has to do with the logistical side of things or an order. And then the third one is growing support. And I think, like, as a company, for us to be able to have the depth of knowledge to answer just general growing questions other than our product, because sometimes people call in and they just want to know about something.
Yeah,
so
they're just curious.
You never know what you're going to pick up as you start your day. I'm curious because I don't have to do it. What's your day look like, guys? What happens?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the middle of the country, so I got one gal that gets on before me, and then I've got usually a couple gals that get on after me. So I get on usually I start at 8, but you see me sometimes I'm up early in the chat just being nosy.
You're an early bird.
I
sure.
am very much. But
you're the only Californian I've ever known that like wakes up before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm
on the opposite side of that. I'm like 4 a.m. No, I like to see what's happened that day, kind of get an idea of the landscape of the day. You know, our problems or issues or questions or concerns, they come in waves. So we'll have like a solid week where everyone is just like, where's your air inflator kit? Or how do I use it? And the next week it'll be a different product. So
and it never seems to me it's like in season.
No, it's always something very random.
And it is. And I liken that to like when you work at a restaurant, you just get these rushes, and that's a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But for us, I do see it's like, you know, nobody right now is thinking about shade cloth, and we'll get a bunch of shade cloth answers or things.
Yeah.
Or people ask about heat mats in the middle of summer in waves. Very strange.
Yeah, I'm like, just use the sun. But yeah, I just try to kind of get an idea of what's been happening. I get into a rhythm that before I go to bed, I check, our queue or check our emails or chats just to kind of see, if there's anything outstanding or pressing. And in the morning, same thing. I kind of try to get an idea of what's happened so far that day. I do various different things within the customer service realm. So if I did a whole bunch of FedEx claims the day before, they might start coming through, and, I have to comb through those things. So although I work from home, I kind of get to do a couple different things. So that's really fun.
You're kind of taking on a new role for us. I think this is the first time we're actually announcing it, is as we're growing as a company, as we're getting more customer service folks, we need a link between customer service and the creative team, customer service and special projects like Julian, and we're fixing to have somebody else come
Exciting.
on. Y'all give me 2 weeks, folks, and then tune in because I got an atom bomb to drop on you. But special projects is definitely getting a shot in the arm there.
Yeah.
And then a link to the administrative side of things. The administrative side of things for you would be, like you just said, customer service, FedEx claims, that kind of thing. Kind of beat up on FedEx there for a minute, there, didn't we? Lots of FedEx claims.
I know. Sorry if you work at FedEx.
Oh, yeah. The
Make it better.
The old brown one does it too for us, though. But I like to joke about it. But those two main carriers, I mean, for the amount of boxes they ship, it's really low.
Right.
What we have.
I think that's something that as a consumer, you don't necessarily see or understand. Like you're not on the shipping side of things. So, I got to be at the warehouse today, and in a half an hour, we went from 0 boxes to 200 boxes. So the volume that just our company alone is putting out, times 10 pickups in a day. So somewhere along the lines, not that I'm giving them a hall pass, but,
And I do think, and it seems to me that more than, I'd say 75% of the stuff that you have to deal with from UPS on a customer order side is, we're very centrally located in the United States.
Yes.
So in general, 4 days would be the longest something would take. Maybe 5 if it's like in Maine or Seattle, up at the very, very tip.
That's what I tell folks. Yeah.
And so
if you're deep in the corners, it'll take a while.
I always feel like sometimes a tracking number will get stuck at a location, maybe it didn't get scanned.
Mm-hmm.
People are tracking their package. Well, this thing hasn't moved in 2 days. Well, actually, it has. That's the kind of calls that we seem to get. Then you have to make contact with one of the carriers, and then almost like clockwork, it gets updated. And hey, actually, your package is it not always? Oh, your package is actually coming today.
Yes,
or it's already been delivered.
Right. There will be like a 1 to 3 day gap or like halt in tracking, and that could be for a variety of things. And then I kind of know how the process works, right? I'm like, just give it a day, like follow up with me. And I would say 90% of the time that tracking will be updated. And if it's not, like that's where we step in and, I call the carrier and see what's up. But generally the visibility that the carrier has, that is the same that I have, which is typically the same that the customer has. So eventually it will get to where it needs to go a majority of the time. It just kind of sometimes, especially if it's a weekend, if it's a long holiday, if there's been inclement weather, things are moving, we just don't see it.
And listen, folks, if you order on a Saturday morning and choose overnight delivery,
it's not shipping out till Monday.
Yeah. So
you'll get it Tuesday.
There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, they don't run. The other thing how are we getting into this logistic podcast?
I know. We can talk about carriers and shipping for days.
But it's hand in hand, and most of the time, your package is not scanned until it leaves our warehouse and goes to the first distribution point. For 100%. Most of the time for us is a town 40 minutes south, and it's in Sulphur Springs, and this doesn't happen till like 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And then it gets diverted to...
Which is why you see your tracking update at such weird times of the day.
Right. So, just, I don't know, fodder for the conversation.
Yeah, we can talk about shipping in a whole other podcast.
Yeah. So, anyway, back to linking customer service to the creative team, special products, and admin. Some of the routing that would happen is if you get a phone call and they need a resource, creative. They need a bigger order or a more complicated order, that would go to special projects. Or if it's this other thing, because we have a lot of people call in and try to solicit. I always tell you guys just to can it. We don't need any more suppliers unless we're seeking them out.
Right.
Kind of thing. So that's what happens if a package is lost. Why would a package get damaged, and then what happens after that?
So oftentimes, it will, packages clock a lot of miles. We are centrally located. Our customers are all over.
And I think people don't understand how many hands they pass through either.
Yes. And especially on the carrier side of things. Our warehouse team is small. Maybe 2 people will touch your box when it leaves the warehouse. But when you're shipping UPS, FedEx, it doesn't matter. These carriers are, global carriers. So there's a lot of exchanging of products going on.
Off camera, my dog's trying to get into the studio.
Yeah. Once the package leaves our hands, leaves our warehouse, it's exchanging a lot of different hands. It's going from North Texas all the way to Portland, Maine. Like, that's a lot of miles that it's traveling. So along the way, it's being offloaded a truck, put into another distribution center, put onto a different truck with different boxes. So
possibly going on an airplane and on a tarmac.
It could be
exposed out to the elements.
So by the time it gets to you, it's pretty incredible how products don't arrive damaged more often. Truly.
And again, people like to talk mess on the carriers, but it's, to your point, the volume that they're doing, it's a miracle. And none of you could do any better, I promise.
No. Like, when it's cold or it's hot, leave some juice, leave some snacks, leave something out for your carriers, because they do a lot of work. But, it could have just, if the UPS driver broke too hard and your package slid, it could be that. It could be a box fell on top of it. Just because the box isn't damaged doesn't necessarily mean that it didn't incur any kind of damage in transit. So that's always something to think about.
Well, and look, we're the heavy duty tray people, right? I mean, we design these trays for that purpose.
Exactly.
What's very difficult is if you order a 30 pack and you have that much weight and one of these boxes falls or falls down the stairs or is dropped at mid height. We used to have, it was much, much worse before we switched over to this current manufacturing partner, but the weight would blow out the corners on the bottom few trays as they were dropped. Now, with the process that we're doing now, it's been, I would say, 98%.
Oh my gosh, I was here
night and day.
Right, I was here with the old manufacturer, and we had tenfold the amount of claims, and I think it goes back to why we're so great is we notice these things and we saw this feedback, and our customers were the ones that were really bringing it to our attention inadvertently, right? Like reaching out to us and saying, hey, my product showed up damaged. And, being on the customer service team, we see these patterns and we notice these trends. And, kind of where I show up in my new role is making sure that our administrative team knows this. I do the claims and I just let him know, X amount of packages going to this destination have had this much damage or anything like that. And admin will, kind of bring that up the ladder.
As growers ourselves, we understand how frustrating it would be to get a package.
Oh, for sure.
So just imagine from our point of view,
right.
If we had 5 or 6 a day, that means we upset 5 or 6 people. And
Mm-hmm.
we don't want that.
Yeah.
And in the interim between switching over to manufacturing partner, our packaging got better. We
Mm-hmm.
did some innovative stuff there that really helped us out. And that has stayed on as a common practice for us, which only made the new trays even more better.
Right.
But like I said, things do happen, accidents happen, things get lost. When you file a claim with one of these places, what are some of the things that could happen?
So they want lots of photos. I get it. They're a business. They want to take the least amount of responsibility possible. But
which means if we don't get a photo from you, we're the ones that have to pay.
Right. And I get it. As someone who's probably been really excited to get their trays, you open the box and you notice something shattered. Like that sucks. My best piece of advice for anyone listening is just keep everything in the box as is and start taking photos. Take photos of the exterior of the box, the inside of the box, the packaging, and then start taking things out and show, taking pictures of the damage. More is more. So if you have 10 photos to send us, please send us all 10 photos.
Help us help you.
Please. But at the very least, photos of the box, photos of the inside, and then photos of obviously of the damaged product. I take all of that, and then this is really where I have to spend a lot of time is, I'm putting all of this in one place. I need to go back, come prepared with your order number. If you do have a damaged product, that is very helpful. I go and I get the invoice. I have to calculate how much that damage cost. I need to upload all the photos. And of course, as a carrier, they have a process in place and it's lengthy. I would say it's about 4 or 5 pages worth of questions that I have to answer per claim. So if I'm doing, I have a system, I do claims 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And let's say I do, 1 claim, it could be upwards of 5 claims. It really just kind of depends. Like I said, things come in waves. It could take me an hour to do these claims. So, as I've grown in my role and as I've been here longer, I've noticed these things and I've tried to perfect a process so that way it is efficient, because I don't want to spend my time, on the FedEx or UPS or USPS website just like inputting all of this information. I want to get back on the phones and help people. But if you do have a damaged item, let us know. We want to fix it. We want to help you. So there's that. There's my soapbox about damages.
I love it. So sometimes somebody will order something and they change their mind. Mm-hmm. They just need to do a return for whatever reason. What's the process there?
Let us know. Come with your order number. And if there's multiple items in your order, let us know. If it's going to be the whole order you want to return or specific items. I know it sounds so, I don't know what the word is, but we want this to be a quick and easy process for the both of us. I don't want to have to bother you back and forth, cluttering your inbox with what's your order number or what items do you want to return. Like, come prepared is what I would say.
If we're doing one return for you, we're doing multiple returns for a lot of other people.
Right.
And we're a small team. I think people think we're bigger than what we are.
Right.
Very, very small team, very small company.
Very. Which is great because you get to know us. Customers will call and be like, I want to talk to so-and-so. But if you have a return, let us know the order number, what items you want to return. And just for our own internal, giggles, like not giggles, for our own internal like knowledge, let us know why. What I like to ask our customers, is there anything wrong with the product? Why didn't it work out? And my reasoning for asking those questions is so we can, if it's, oh, I didn't know how this worked, maybe we should create a resource. Like, if you don't know, somebody else might not know. And
from the creative side of things, and either from doing the resources or what Katie has done a lot of here lately is tweak the website to make it easier for you guys to find stuff.
Yes. You can search on our website, humidity domes, and all these different things will pop up. The product itself, obviously, how to use them. And all of this is coming to fruition based on our conversations with customers.
Right.
You're welcome to send a return back on your own, but I usually suggest folks, let us know if you need to return something. We will generate a label for you. Obviously, we're shipping things on a commercial scale, so we have a little bit better of a partnership in terms of the price that label is going to cost. If you want to return your 30 pack of trays, you walk into UPS, it's probably going to cost you $50 to return that versus, maybe $25, $30 on our end. And just to make the process seamless, we don't we don't ask you for any money up front. We send you a label, slap that bad boy on the label, drop it off, schedule a pickup. They make it very easy these days. As soon as we get the items back at the warehouse, we'll make sure that we got back what it is that you wanted to return, and then we'll process a refund for you minus the cost of the label. And it's very, very easy.
Being a small company, everybody knows what's going on. We're highly connected.
Mm-hmm.
We do have different departments. Everybody, kind of stays in your own lane, but there's a lot of overlap here.
Mm-hmm.
So we've mentioned the resources a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
We like to look at when we go out to write an instruction manual or we go shoot a video or whatever the case may be. Not only is it for our clients, but as we've brought on more staff, it's like when you came on, what's the best thing you can do? Watch the videos.
Uh-huh.
You'll watch the videos, download everything, read as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are reading our employee handbook, basically. Whenever you're devouring our content in either an audible form, a video, a blog, follow us on social. We try to give a bunch of tips there. But that's how we essentially train our folks.
Yeah.
And as the content teams develop this, we send it. We use Slack for internal communications.
Mm-hmm.
That goes in a content room, and hey, everybody, this is. And a lot of times I'll put, this is required reading. Like,
mm-hmm.
the season's coming up. This is a new product. Check out what Carl had to say. But that's how we want to train our folks.
Right.
So that's why we push the content so much on that side.
And a lot of the times, too, in regards to that, we will bring on like a guest writer. So most recently we had Ashley from Vale Family Farm do a little blog or article on sunflowers. And I know that that's a huge, it's a highly popular thing to grow, and it's an easy thing to grow. So when a customer is calling and they're like, hey, I want to start growing sunflowers, not only can I recommend, okay, these trays will work, yada, yada, here's a resource from someone who's actively growing lots of sunflowers. And it's not us, and I think to a certain degree, as a consumer, you're like, okay.
These people's again. Right? Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
That's why we like visiting farms so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the best job in the world. I get to go tour all these farms and meet everybody.
Pretty awesome.
And it's because nobody wants to hear from me all the time. I mean, I feel bad enough about sorry folks on the podcast, but somebody has to go get it, and it just, thank God it's me.
Right.
I want to think about now, what can a customer do? Like if a customer came to you and says, how can I best place an order?
Mm-hmm.
I would almost 99% of the time think that most of the questions that they're going to have is actually in the listing itself.
100%.
But maybe you're not scrolling down far enough.
Yes, I would say read the product listing top to bottom. We only put the useful information on the product listing, and we also want to give you a wealth of information on there so you can make an educated decision, because we know that if you order the wrong thing and it doesn't work out, it takes time out of your production, out of your operation, and it's annoying. Like, let's be honest, returns are annoying. So we want to minimize the amount of that going on. So please read the product listing top to bottom. We talk about compatibility, what fitting, what the product does and doesn't do. So for example, the humidity domes aren't designed to snap like Tupperware. They're designed to sit on top of the cell flat, on top of the 32 cell. And there will be airflow, and we put that in the product listing so that way if you're expecting a X but you got Y, it was all there for you.
I feel there's sometimes a disconnect between somebody that just needs a couple of trays a year kind of thing, super hobby homeowner, and we love them all.
We love them all.
But our stuff is designed for farmers at a medium to large scale.
Correct.
And I think that sometimes there's a little bit of misunderstanding or misconception of, because I tell you, we don't get questions about compatibility from big farmers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of flex in there. There's a little bit of, it's all coming from the same company, so it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Versus when you buy consumer grade stuff, either it's super flimsy,
Right.
or they're expecting something that's not just for whatever reason that case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. Look, folks, we struggle with this as a company.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How do we fully explain everything to every personality type and every scale of grower and all things considered?
For me, I always, anytime I'm talking to somebody, I want to know, what are you trying to do? Are you going to grow microgreens for your family? Are you trying to start a flower farm? Like, what is it you're trying to do? And from there, I can have a pretty good idea of how I can kind of develop a shopping list for you, so to speak. A lot of the times, especially if it's a larger, if they want to buy a greenhouse or they want to buy, multiple packs of trays, I'll chat with you for a little bit, 5-10 minutes, kind of get to know what you're trying to do, get your budgeting, and then I'll put together a draft shopping list for you, and I'll send it, and I'll follow up, and we can chat about it, and I can explain to you exactly why I recommended these products for your operation. But to your point, right, we're not 100% geared at the home grower. We are all-encompassing, but a huge chunk of our customer base are folks growing on a larger scale, whether it's, they have a large family that they're growing for, or they have a small business that they're growing for, or a large business, but just lost my train of thought.
It happens.
It's like a big old inhale, and we're like, ah.
Let's now talk about somebody would call when you personally would make the decision to kick this to special projects. And I'm curious, because we haven't talked about this, and I'd like to know, what do you think, from an employee standpoint, think that Julian does?
Ooh, okay, let's start with that. Julian answers all of my questions. It's funny, up until recently, I've never built a greenhouse. I've watched all the videos, I've read all the manuals, I've talked to all the people, I've seen them, but never with my own two hands have I spent time building a greenhouse. So I want to make sure that when I'm talking to someone, I'm giving them obviously 100% correct information. There are some basic things that you just know. It doesn't matter if you've built it or not. You just know whether or not that makes sense. If you're buying multiples of hoop houses, I'm going to direct you to Julian. If you're trying to do something.
Okay, why? Why would you direct it to Julian?
Oh, why? If I'm buying 5 hoop houses?
Yeah, if somebody calls up and they want to buy 5, which happens, why would you kick it to him versus handling it?
To be fair, anything over 5, I was told to kick to Julian. So I'm a rule follower, if I'm being completely honest. That's my honest answer. But typically, if you're buying that many hoop houses, you have a large operation, and you're trying to do something on a very big commercial scale, and that's where Julian's expertise comes in.
There's things that Julian can look at, mainly with logistics, how far you're away, how he knows that we bundle things, and his direct relationship with the vendors, way beyond what customer service has to deal with. Yeah. So there's a lot of times where we can look at shipping direct, or can we do 2 loads, or can we do everything on one truck? So shipping less than a full truckload is way more expensive oftentimes than just getting the whole truck. So there's a few people that he deals with that we're sending 5 hoop houses every couple of months to. That's a much different order. It requires not just copying and pasting from the last time, but okay, what's currently going on with shipping? What's currently going on with the warehouse? What's currently going on with inventory levels? Do we have stuff fixing to be shipped anyway? Can we just ship it direct? Right. That's stuff that we can't bog down customer service with.
No, and to kind of briefly piggyback on that, a lot of folks, especially when they're ordering hoop houses and their first hoop house with us, they're not super familiar with how motor freight shipping works. So, that's a conversation for another time.
Some days I don't think we know. It's the hardest part.
You know who does know? Well, to a certain
Julio?
degree. Julian. He has visibility into our shipping platforms that customer service doesn't see. So a lot of the time, I'll need his insight into that. But especially if you're going to buy 5, 10, 15 hoop houses, that's really important information to know. And I don't have access to that information. So that's when I would bring in
And it's the
Julian.
same. We have some clients that buy several pallets a month
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
various reasons. And same thing. And right now he's working with a manufacturing partner, shipping right from the Midwest. It's saving the clients a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not only saving us money because we're saving them money, but now we don't have to put it to the warehouse.
In the warehouse, right.
We don't have to make room for it. We don't have
Right.
to bog down our folks.
Mm-hmm.
Our manufacturing partner is going to put it on a truck with their forklift no matter what.
Right.
What happens to it after that is completely controllable.
Right.
So the other thing, so I ran commercial sales at a Home Depot during the housing boom. That I know commercial sales, scale, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there that only want to call a company and deal with one person because you don't want to start every order with,
right.
This is what I'm doing. Like you just said it. What do you do with folks? What are you doing? What's your budget? Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
If you're placing multiple orders a month, you don't want to start over fresh every time. That's why that position was created with Julian, and we're fixing to add on to it, just like we're adding on to customer service. I mean, the volume of calls is increasing, more customer service. The volume of commercial sales as far as bigger projects, long-term projects.
Right.
The other thing that sometimes could go to special projects or to you is POs from schools, institutions, government, that kind of thing. How does that work?
It really depends on the situation, mainly due to the volume. And is this going to be like a one-time project that they're doing, or are they trying to build a, hoop house on their property? I know a lot of colleges, their horticulture program, they got funding and they want to build these hoop houses and things like that. And that's something I would kick over to Julian. It's definitely a larger scale project, even if it's only one or two houses, which is a pretty normal order. Like I could help someone place an order for one or two hoop houses, but the specialty of that situation is something that I would pass off to Julian. I deal with a lot of schools. They'll reach out and be like, "Oh, we have a kindergarten class and we want to buy your colored pots." But the way that they order is very specific. They have to put in a PO, they have to get it approved, all the logistics that are involved with that. That'll typically stay in my realm because it's such a small order. So having the wherewithal to decide who it should go to kind of falls under my umbrella, kind of heading the customer service team. So like you were saying, acting as that liaison between what should stay on the customer service end, what should be escalated to special projects or what have you.
And that's a good way to look at your new role is if anybody else has a question, we're trying to protect our boss,
right?
His time as much as possible.
Right, 100%.
He doesn't need to be spending time on a $10 decision.
Right.
Our people are empowered up to $100 to make a decision to take care of the client in the situation the best way they can.
Right.
No real right or wrong. If anything's above that, but I'd say less than 500 bones, it needs to be kicked to you to make the decision. That's still not something that needs to be in his realm with what all he's got going on. I'm asking a lot of these questions because thank God I don't ever have to deal with this stuff. So I'm curious as well. When would you deal with an international order? I'd say we send out 5 to 15, sometimes 20 international orders a day.
Yeah.
Most of them is just a regular parcel, no big whoop.
Okay. I was like, Quill Wheaton. Quill Wheaton. Copyright, we can't say that.
Nah, Seth's not going to do anything. It'll be fine.
Y'all are on a first name basis, apparently.
As much as I quote Family Guy, we are on a first name basis. Why are you saying it weird?
Weird.
International orders. When would you kick that? And when would you keep it?
Again, I think just figuring out, is this, to your point, is this regular parcel? Like we get a lot of international customers that just want to know how shipping works. So we can, a frontline customer service rep should be able to answer that. If you input all of your address information and go through the checkout flow, it'll calculate shipping taxes and duties for you. We have no control over that. Truthfully, I don't totally know how that works. That's not from us, though. That's from the receiving country in terms of duties and VAT and all that kind of stuff. But we do have a lot of customers that want to buy our products en masse. So, maybe they are starting a business in Canada, a microgreen business, and they need to buy 100 Okay, not 100. That's kind of a small order still, but you get where I'm going. A large amount.
Right.
That's something that I would pass off to Julian. But when I do that, I want to know where it's going, if possible, what kind of operation you're running, where you're operating it, what you see for the future of your business. Because Julian deals with a lot of our larger scale repeat customers. They have a very close relationship. They'll only call and talk to Julian, which is great. But that's when I would kind of pass that off to him.
I think one other thing is important to note is we're also keeping tabs on how busy certain ports are.
Mm-hmm.
So we may elect to ship to a different port. Like instead of shipping something out of LA, we may choose to ship it out of Houston, pay a little bit extra to ship it to the Panama Canal. We do have quite a bit going to New Zealand and Australia. So that's where we have to make the decision, what port we're going to send this out of. And then it escalates to, okay, what carrier are we going to use to get it to one of those two ports? Are we going to send it by train? I mean, this is all stuff that we have to deal with.
But those are such specialized cases that...
And they're fluid.
Right.
There's you have to just kind of be in it all day, every day. Let's now talk about, you guys are on the front lines of all inbound email, text, messages. Hey, a hard stop here for a second. If it's a customer service issue about returns, something else, getting a hold of us through Facebook Messenger is not ideal.
Not efficient.
So I would say that 75 and 85% of all of our communications on social media is on Instagram, and the next one would be YouTube. Facebook makes up such, first of all, Facebook. I mean, it's
dead and gone. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's figure it out. But you got to understand, the creative team that has to monitor these channels, we don't even have access to the systems.
Correct.
Which means we got to call you anyway, and then now we're playing third party.
Right.
If you contact a Bootstrap Farmer, it's going to get to the people that actually have information on all those systems. And honestly, you're going to get resolved much, much faster. You're going to get resolved immediately versus, I try to eliminate Facebook for my whole life. I may not check it for a day or so. We're just not on there. So just a little insider tidbit for you.
Pro tip.
You're on the front lines of inbound email, phone calls, chat boxes, text. Where are our texts coming from? I don't understand. I don't have any idea how anything works, everybody.
We typically will initiate a text to a customer, and then they still have access to it. I don't necessarily think it's advertised anywhere on our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, through that role, through handling everything,
there's a lot of channels to reach us, is all you're saying.
Right. Except for Facebook Messenger.
Don't use it.
But there is some creative stuff that comes through. Sometimes people want to reach out for collabs. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that we pick the collabs.
100%.
I mean, we like to watch, the creative team likes to watch people for a while before we even initiate. Asking to have a collaboration of any sort, probably not the best way to, I don't know, maybe we're just jerks that way. But
no, I think just do what you love, buy the product so you have an unbiased opinion, and then we'll see it.
Yeah, because we're looking. I promise that we're looking and actively searching all this stuff out. The reason we don't do this is we have been burned in the past, like real bad about, hey, I've got this project. It's special because of this reason. Let's do this thing. Well, it does sound cool. Yeah, let's do it. And we've lost literally thousands of dollars. We're still waiting on things that we should have got long ago from people that now if I got, I wouldn't even use that kind of thing, right?
Right.
But what we like to do is we like to find our true people. We like, it's evident on Instagram that, there's people that we can deal with because a lot of times it's proximity of how close they are to me, the one that has to go do all that stuff or gets to go do all that stuff.
Right.
Other times it's just, I promise you, there's 50 people that I need to get to their farm, and I've been trying to since COVID started. Hey, I used to travel all the time. Now we can't do it as much. And now that my role has changed, I really can't do it as much. Right. So we already have our plate full. We already got people we desperately want to work with.
Right.
And it's very hard. But you get those. You kick them to me, and we like,
yeah.
we'll put you on the radar, but
Right.
it's not a guarantee because you really kick back to the back of the queue.
Right.
I am never, ever going to take a blog post from you, no matter what, unsolicited.
That's a very common one.
If you are developing an ag tech app, you're never going to be on here. It's not an interest to our folks. It's not an interest to me. This is not an advertising platform for this. This is not an advertising platform for us. This is just me getting to sit down and do stuff like this. But if you reach out, it's just not going to work. Asking us to sponsor your farm cold, that's really never going to happen.
Nope.
We reserve those funds for the people that have been with us over the long haul, that naturally shout us out because they love us and we love them, and we're going to reserve all that funding from them.
For sure.
So even though you get it, this is my little soapbox time to be like, it's not going to happen.
Don't do it.
Because we are actively trying to work with some people that truly have earned that spot. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Tax exemptions.
Send us your paperwork. If you know you're tax exempt and you want it to be applied, make everyone's life easier and just send us the paperwork along with it.
Do you do that after you paid for something or before?
Please, please, please before. I'm gonna have to ask you to do more paperwork if you want us to refund the tax on an order. So if you are gonna start ordering with us and you have your tax exemption, please reach out to us first. We'll have you make an account. We'll apply it to your account. You'll never have to talk to us again.
Let's now discuss, again, the volume. We're good, but we're still human.
Yeah.
You're human that are ordering. I promise you that we make every effort to write as clearly as possible, to have all the facts right in front of you so you can make your decisions. There's still this human, and I always say personality types because it's so true, but there's this element into how an order can to get messed up. So here's how it can get messed up from our side. Maybe it's mispicked. It rarely happens, but sometimes it's certainly gotten better. But sometimes a hole will get sent with instead of a no hole. That's the most common one. We've done a lot of things to make sure that doesn't happen. But again, humans, lots of boxes, things happen. Things get put in the wrong box. That's on us. No trouble. We'll fix it.
Right.
The thing that happens the most is third-party shipping, loss, damage, that kind of thing. We already discussed it. The third thing, you have to understand that if you order a 30-pack, we get these things shipped to us as a 30-pack. We're not going to open it up and inspect it because 99.9 times out of 100, 10,000 trays go out. There's not a problem. But sometimes there will be a manufacturing issue, maybe a short shot, maybe a long shot, industry terms for this thing just didn't get manufactured right. Again, it rarely happens. We'll take care of it. But again, sometimes the misordering is from the customer service or from the customer side of things because they simply didn't read the listing.
Correct. I deal with a lot of folks who want to cancel their order, and it's because they jumped the gun. They moved too quickly. We have ample stock of the things that are in stock. We have a lot of it. So don't fret, take your time, be diligent with your ordering. Don't over order, but also know that 5 is not a lot of trays. Even for the home grower, you're going to go through 5 trays. So don't stress there. But a lot of folks, and I think I mentioned this earlier, they don't fully read the product listing. The bottom part, if I'm going to be honest, is really where the meat and potatoes of the technical information lives on a product listing.
And beyond that, there's our FAQs, from customers that ask questions. A lot of times that is already going to be answered a lot of time with one of our resources.
Yep. Or by another customer who has really good insight about a product.
And read our reviews, and read the 1-star reviews. I love it. Because if there's 100 people saying, yes, this was the best thing ever, and then one person saying why they're upset, I would tell you that most of those 1-star reviews have something to do with shipping or that side of the equation where this didn't work for me because I'm growing X, Y, and Z. And
correct. It's user error.
Right.
And it's just not what they wanted the product to be. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the product that we sold you was not the product we advertised.
You know what a fun little thing to do is?
Mm.
Is go to like a national park on Yelp. Wait a minute.
Where is this going?
And read the reviews that people leave for national parks. It's
I
hysterical.
didn't know people could left reviews for national parks.
It's on Yelp.
Why is the national park on Yelp?
Because people search Yelp.
I guess there's
anyway. My point is,
I digress.
Go to anybody's or anything's anywhere. There's reviews on everything.
Right.
Google, Facebook, whatever.
People. They review people.
People like to get real upset and leave those 1-star reviews. My other favorite thing is we'll get a 3-star review, and this is the best thing ever. It came fast. It was perfectly shipped. It worked perfect. I love it. 3 stars. What could we have possibly done?
And I will reach out as much as I can. If it's something, especially if it's like a middle of the road situation that's like that, it's like, what could we have done to get 5 stars? And I love when people respond back and they're like, this is my first time ordering from you. Everything was great. I haven't used it yet. So, okay, they'll leave off a star. You know, I still feel
wait a week.
Yeah. Or I appreciate that you want to give us a review. But yeah, we send out those product reviews. I want to say we pushed it out a little bit. I think closer to a month now, and after you order.
Right.
And we want that. You know, a lot of our customers rely on on those reviews to make educated decisions as well. We can only give you so much in the product listing. So
also think about this. How often do people truly leave? I never leave a review.
Maybe like 5 a day.
Well, more than that, like, I'm a terrible person, right? I don't know, and just in general, I'm a terrible person. But I'm especially terrible because I don't leave reviews. Happy, Matt. I told you earlier, I never send anything back. I mean, I'm just like, whatever, let's just get on with life.
Right.
So all I'm saying is that if 100 people order something from us and 100 of them are happy, 1 or 2 is going to leave a review.
Yeah.
So if you see that we have 100 reviews on a listing, it's a lot of happy people.
Right.
The 1-star review, that's like, again, that's the same scale.
Right.
There's probably some people that are unhappy with us that have never left a review.
Right. They just quietly disappear and we never notice.
Just take reviews with a grain of salt.
Right.
But I do encourage you to read them because I'm actively telling you that the proof is in the pudding because of that volume thing. Overall, I think we do a pretty good job.
We do a pretty darn good job, I like to think.
Another thing that could cause issue with an order is what my wife accuses me of doing, is just blind clicking. Like, oh, click, I'll take that. Oh, suggested item, I'll take that. The suggested item, oftentimes that's generated by the system.
Yeah, the platform that we use will automatically suggest items, even if they make no sense to the product that it's listed on. I could go down a rabbit hole to talk about that, but basically we can't do anything about it.
We've tried to fix.
Right.
You know, if it makes sense, consider it, look at it, read the full listing. If it doesn't make sense, don't just click on it just because. DIY hoop. DIY hoop houses.
It's gotten better, to be fair.
It has gotten a lot better because we've worked on the listing, because we've had feedback from clients, and we're just, you know, we do things better. If you're ordering a second sheet of plastic,
it's going to be a different size.
You got drop down menus. You got to click through those. You got to read it. Got to tell you. Yeah. Now, I will say, every hoop house, every grow rack, every DIY. What else am I missing? Those are 3 things that we don't even send the warehouse the pick list until that's reviewed by somebody.
Correct. Typically Julian.
Julian will review all the grow racks, all the hoop houses. I'd say most of the DIY stuff. Sometimes you guys see it.
Yeah.
So if there's a problem, we will contact you and go, hey, put your order on hold. You realize you didn't order a bender.
Right. And a lot of the times they didn't know that they needed one.
Right.
Even though it's on the product listing.
Oh, it is? Like right at the front? Is it right at the front?
Like right there says that you'll need a pole bender. And big, I think.
And these things ship with poles, is that right?
No. You need to go out and buy your own.
What?
Which is why we have a purchase locally chart. It's not always spot on. Prices of things ebb and flow. It's a general idea. If anything, it's just a shopping list. It's like, this is what you need to go buy for this width of a hoop house. And we have them in various sizes. And
the point is, aside from my own snarkiness, it's on there. It's on the listing. But we are still trying to take care of you by that thing automatically gets kicked to a separate list or goes to the warehouse. Most of the time it's because you didn't completely go through the order process. Now we're beta testing some stuff right now where you actually can't place the order if it doesn't make sense. New technology for us, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
One thing that happens every now and then is somebody will get a hold of customer service and they will say, well, I called and I talked to somebody and I this and I that. It's real important to understand that our system, whether you text, phone, message, email, it all gets archived. We have your order history. We have your abandoned carts. We see all the messages. We see all the phone calls, when it happened.
Who you talk to.
We can see who you talk to because we have to log in. We all work remotely, so we all log into a system to pick up the phone, which means we know who you talk to. So that helps us track things down, but it also goes, well, this person actually didn't talk to this. We never got a message back. We were on the road a couple of days ago. Some guy sent us an email that he was upset that his freight delivery showed up and he wasn't home, but he never told us that he wasn't not going to be home.
Correct.
Or had
No
us hold
correspondence
it,
whatsoever.
which we totally could have done. So, look, we want to help, but we need all the information if that's going to be the case.
Correct. Side note about that. The area on the website where you can leave notes, I would say 99.9% of the time, they're directed at the carrier. The carrier does not see that.
And we don't have a way to tell them.
No.
We don't know a random UPS guy in Michigan that's gonna. Can you please put this behind the chicken with the coat on?
Right. So I would say do your due diligence. If you have a very unique situation where you want it delivered on the back porch or whatever the case is, you have options. You can either have it held at the post office, UPS access point, print out a piece of paper and put it on your front door. There are ways to inform the carrier. It's just not through us.
Right. Another thing that you have to do is fraud alerts. So let's say that you have a credit card and you live in Dallas, but you're traveling and you place an order in New York. Our system gives us a fraud alert that says, hey, the IP address is 600 miles away from where this credit card's billing address is supposed to be or shipping address. Is this cool or not? You, as customer service, will email or call the customer and say, hey, just checking on the order. Is this right? It's basically our way to making sure that you're not a scammer.
Yeah. And we just want to make sure that we're protecting our customers every possible way. So it's generally a pretty easy interaction. We will call you, we'll email you, we'll ask you to call us back, and we'll just confirm some information, and then we release your package.
There's some telltale signs, and for security issues, I'm not going to say what they are.
Right.
There's patterns that people that like to scam credit cards like to do, and that's what our system automatically looks for. From the human side of things, we can generally look at and go, yeah, we're just going to cancel this order.
Right. There's a lot of automation that we have in place, but I personally don't think that can completely eliminate, the humanness of it. So that's where we come in to make sure that you're protected and that the orders are going to where they need to go.
Right. Another unique situation about us is very, very little is still on Amazon, but we still have a few Amazon listings. If you order from Amazon, I'm sorry, but our hands are completely tied on 100%, customer service.
All the way around.
We can't
even see your shipping address. That's why if you're to reach out to us, especially via your Amazon account, say, hey, my products arrived damaged. I don't know who you are. I don't know. All I see is your order number, but I don't have access to your address. There's a lot of things that Amazon blocks. And
we can't call Amazon either.
Nope. Your phone number, I don't even have your phone number. So, a lot of the times there's missing information and a lot of people don't go back and check their Amazon, whatever the case is. I would say just reach out to us directly via chat, phone, email, and we will do our best. But a lot of the time, especially if it's a return, we have to ask you, unfortunately, to go through Amazon, which sucks.
And in general, you've probably paid more on Amazon than you would have through us anyway. We get the shipping, that we get the Prime, but with $49, I mean, it's not going to be a huge order. And I'm not saying that to say that, hey, $50 is a lot of money.
Yeah,
we get it, but it just kind of is what it is. We've discussed this ad nauseum, but
But what I'll say, so we don't beat Amazon to a, beat a dead horse, it's for a small price of $50, you get a whole team of folks behind you. You have human support. Whereas I know I've had very expensive packages I've ordered off of Amazon not be delivered, and I've been reduced to tears because I just can't get a person. I just get a bot. So as much as possible, I try to encourage our customers to order directly through us because you get the service.
And if you go through the contact or the phone number, it's almost immediate service.
Mm-hmm.
So your new role, we're going to start asking you to work with the team just to coach them, to encourage them to make those empowering decisions. Because, I don't know, it's just one of those things where I think even our team, even though, we all know each other, they still want to question things.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do this? Do we do this? Your job from here on out is going to be, come to me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go to everybody.
Right.
And allow them to take care of the customer.
Mm-hmm.
Our company's ability to have everybody on the team without question take care of the client, unless it escalates into something
right
bigger.
And then that's where I come in and you come in.
It's pretty phenomenal. Right. I mean, I rarely have to get on a tech call anymore. I mean, Julian's kind of that, but even Julian will escalate it to me or to Brad or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to ask you to do that. And we were talking about this on the car ride, and you were talking about how it's just allowing for more critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So there's general rules, there's templates that we use, there's if then that kind of things. But just really thinking through the situation, you had some great things to say about that. So I'd like to hear some of your thoughts.
Yeah. So, you mean a little bit about me before I started with Bootstrap. I was in the fitness industry for a really long time. I've ran my own operations. I've always been in a leadership role. And, when you run a business that's 24 hours and doesn't close, you got to carve out time to sleep. So I always made it a point in my professional career to, if I was in a position to empower someone, I always wanted them to. I never wanted to clock out for the day or go home or, God forbid, go on a vacation and leave my team scared to make decisions. And it was a little bit of a learning curve in that this is a fully remote job, and I'm very much a people person, like in the flesh. So I had to learn to adapt to that environment. But I think ultimately it's the most important to empower your team in a remote role, because they don't have that the innate human connection of me just walking past them on the hallway or asking them how their day is going. It can be a really solitary role. So I'm excited to take this on and just make it fun. Like, if you haven't picked up on it, like I'm a pretty chill person.
I have yet to see anything in this company come down to a life or death decision.
Never.
Right? I mean,
never.
Sometimes people feel like it is, but at the end of the day.
And I get that, but I'm here to help tell people that it's going to be okay. It'll be fine.
How are some of those skills transferring over to what you're doing?
I'm a very observant person by nature, and then just being in fitness, there's a lot of room for people to hurt themselves. I didn't work in an office. I wasn't behind a computer.
Any egos to deal with?
Constantly. It's very, very people with egos, but that doesn't go away. I've been doing that for over 10 years, and it's just not something that goes away. So when I leave a company, or I start a new job, I want it to be somewhere I'm at for a long time, and I want to make an impact, and I want to make everybody's lives easier ultimately. And I want everyone to enjoy coming to work. Like, I roll out of bed and walk 4 feet to go to work, So making sure that.
Now, wait a minute. If you're like me, I know you are. You wake up, you're not even rolling out of bed. You're answering some of this stuff. You're waking up and like, who?
Yeah, 4 a.m. I'm on my iPad or my phone, and I'm working. But it's because I love being here, and I get excited to help people start gardening and farming, because I was a customer before I came on board. And I drank the Kool-Aid. Like, I wholeheartedly believe in everything that we do. But especially when you're running a multi-million-dollar business, when your bonus is riding on your P&L and retention bonus, all these things, all the money that could have been made, you want to make it. If the potential is there, I wanted it. So I learned very quickly and I worked very hard, but I did it for such a long time and I started very young. I was 18 when I got into the industry and I'm 28 now. So I've been doing it a really long time and I wanted to pursue my dream. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a businesswoman and I think that's not always something that you find in farmers. I think that, to kind of tie it all together, I think where I see a lot of our customers is, struggle is the business side of it. They can grow a damn good tomato, but they don't know how to sell it. And I really, really enjoy being able to, at length talk to our customers and just give them insight. Doesn't matter if I'm selling gym memberships or microgreens. The idea of operating a business is the same.
You're such a critical part, like, of my life, because you're the one I call, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're work buddies,
right?
I forget how you did start, and going back to what I said earlier about don't call us, we'll call you.
Right.
I noticed you. I was like, this chick right here. This chick, I was creeping you hard. But yeah, you were shouting us out. I was like, this chick. Yeah.
I don't even remember how I found Bootstrap Farmer, if I'm being honest. It seems like light years ago. But I'm sure it was
3 days ago seemed like a month ago.
Yeah, to be fair. But I'm almost certain it was just because I was watching somebody else talk about Bootstrap, which is kind of how our industry works. It's a lot of word of mouth.
And it's microscopic.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because it's a microscopic industry. Everybody kind of knows everybody. Everybody keeps up with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But think about the volume of new people that we get every single day.
Oh my gosh.
They either follow us or, hey, I just found you, or I'm calling you for the first time. I'm thinking about this. It's pretty outstanding.
It's awesome. It's so fun. And I love that I get to be on the front line of it because I get to see exactly in real time what everybody's up to. And from there, I can funnel to what we talked about before, the kind of 3 different silos that our customers will fall into. And I get to just see it all happen.
What is your favorite customer service moment or person or store that you've had here so far?
Oh, gosh, there's so many. But can I name a specific name?
I don't know.
You don't know him, but other than Carl, Avi, there was, in any job, you always have the, like a chatty person or someone that, a regular. And it's weird for us to have regulars because we don't have a physical storefront. But when I first started, it was right at the peak of busy season. I started like late December and, obviously it started to pick up shortly thereafter. And answering the phones, talking to people. And I remember I was so nervous to start answering the phones. Not because I don't like to talk to people, but I want to give people the right information.
Well, all of a sudden, I think you feel like, okay, I'm answering the phones for this company that's known for knowing what's going on.
Right. And
I snatched you up out of the, hey, look at this backyard grower that's...
in my inky dinky little backyard. But there was a customer, James H. Everybody knows on our team who James H. is. And he's just a chatty guy. From Texas, actually. And you could tell he's old and retired, and he probably only ever uses the phone to call us. And he's just an absolute peach, and he still calls us. He took a little bit of a break over the holidays. But anytime we have somebody new come on, I'm like, okay, there's like 4 customers that you're going to get to know very quick and fast. And he's one of them. And we just chatted up. Like, he usually calls like pretty close to quitting time. And I'll spend a half an hour just chopping it up with him. He'll ask me questions. I don't have answers, and he's not mad about it. I'm like, you'll call me next week. I'll have an answer for you. I'm all up to date on his health. Like, I know his son's name. I've talked to his family, and it's rare that you get those, especially working remotely. So that's been really fun.
Katie and I both kind of observe the Instagram messages. YouTube messages,
those are fun.
I usually get told what a jackass I am, and then they move on. But Instagram, we have these, again, long-term relationships with people I love to death. Think of everybody you met the last 2 days. I met all on social media. Yeah. Flat out.
Yeah. One of the gals that wrote for us, Ashley, who released our article for Sunflowers, I met her. I still haven't met her. But I encouraged us to to keep an eye on her because she's doing some cool stuff. And lo and behold, someone thought I was, someone agreed with me. I suggest a lot of things. But y'all saw what I saw. So that's really cool.
Name a time that somebody called just furious that you turned around.
A lot of them.
I wrote these down after you left yesterday.
I can't think of a specific person. I'm sure I've repressed the memory, if I'm being totally honest. But for me, I've always been that last line of defense. I've always been in roles where it's like, oh, somebody wants to talk to the manager, and I'm like, oh no. But you can't go into it, especially because it's much harder to disarm someone that's not in front of you. So, which is, and
I also think that some of the emails we get there.
I see them.
They're
I read
vicious.
them.
People are so mean. Why are y'all so mean? No,
truly.
But when you call them back, it's like, oh yeah, man, sorry, I was having a bad day.
Yeah,
that happens so often.
A lot of the time, it's just like we were the last straw, or or it's people have heard such good things about us, and they felt like they had a terrible experience, and they're really upset about it. But when I go into a situation like that, I'll hear you out. Like, just tell me what's frustrating you. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to cut you off. Just get it out so that way I can help you figure out what the best situation is going to be, the best solution. I'm a solution-oriented person. I don't want to send you away feeling like this was all for naught. And, even if it's the unfortunate decision of, hey, this might not work out for you.
Right.
I want to help you make that decision quickly so that way you're not delaying whatever it is that you want to do.
I always feel bad because, again, we don't make that many mistakes, but we are still human. All the, everything we've been saying. I feel that if we really tank one, really mess it up, and then we'll send the replacement, and then that'll get lost.
Oh, it's happened.
It's like the ones we mess up the worst. It's just this funnel for just a shitstorm to rain down on this poor person that we have. It's like the ones we're trying extra hard to remedy or make up for. I don't know. It's just the juju attracts, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, I would say a lot of times it's something comes damaged or motor freight shipping. Like once again, we've said this a zillion times, but once it leaves our hands, we have zilch, no control over what happens in between our warehouse and your house. But we're who you see. So, we get reached out to, where's my package? What's going on? I don't have an immediate answer. Typically I have to connect with Julian. Julian's busy. We have to coordinate this. I got to call the shipper. There's a lot of parts that are involved in getting, a large order or a hoop house to you. And I think that's, when people don't know or aren't informed, I think that's when they feel the most upset. So I do my best I'm not going to be able to get you an answer right here, right now, but I promise you I will follow up in an hour or whatever the case is. And even if I don't have an answer, in the unfortunate cases, I will let you know.
Well, I can't imagine that anybody would call and expect you to know everything about everything.
You'd be surprised.
Well, but I think the fact that collectively as a company, again, a small one, that we can call our boss right now. He'll answer the phone. You can call Julian right now. He'll be on a call, but he'll call you right back.
Yeah, Julian is so busy.
But collectively, in a very short amount of time, not only can we give you an answer, but probably a couple of alternatives. And hey, go check out these other two resources or channels, whatever the case may be, of somebody's doing something similar to yours.
Right. Any mods, we get a lot of questions about modifying like our hoop houses or drilling holes into things. I'm always going to tell you no. Take our product as it is. But, I may not know how to do X, or I may not recommend it. But if you're really all gung-ho about it,
at the end of the day, if you bought it, it's yours.
Right.
May or may not void the warranty, but if that makes you happy.
This person's doing something similar, maybe go check them out. But it's not going to, we don't necessarily recommend that.
I guess at the end of the day, I'm the old crusty bastard in the company. Still
my favorite old crusty bastard.
Well, I try to be everybody's favorite. I always view podcasts that we do like this, like, I don't want to come out sounding like a jerk. It just is what it is.
Right.
But we would not go through this effort. Name another company that does as much as we do on the resource side, on the social media side. Nobody puts out the videos that we do at such volume. We're not doing all of this just to mediocre by.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we're really trying to every single day, not only completely, I hate this word, but disrupt the industry Like, I need to take a shower
Yeah.
after that. But
Farm to table.
that's the next one. But like, we're a group of people that are really trying to make a positive change.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, we're going to, if we're going to make an omelet, we're going to break a ton of eggs along the way. We're going to stumble.
For sure.
I just ask that people think about their own lives, think about their own journeys. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-mm.
Just give us a chance to remedy it. And the very few
Right.
cases that we actually have to remedy. And again, we're sitting here talking about issues and things that on a percentage level is very, very small.
Correct. It's a minute amount of things.
But it takes 80 to 90% of our customer service effort to remedy those 1%ers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not 1%ers the people, it's 1%ers of all the things that we just talked about over the last 40 minutes, the just situation things that rise up. So just give us a chance. Know that when we started this company, nobody in the U.S. wanted to work with us. We looked and went and searched, and we were too small. And all these injection molding machines, they're all booked. Nobody wants to work with you. And we did what we did to get started through a superior product.
Would you say we bootstrapped our way?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we did bootstrap. But we started with a concept, an idea, and a design. And I would like to think some values and ethics that let us win over. If you're listening to me after 40 minutes of this, we did something right.
Correct.
So, as you know that we're a 4-year-old company, 5-year-old company, whatever the case may be.
Think about your 4 or 5-year-old human and how little they've accomplished.
They're probably not wearing shoes. But we're still figuring this out. We are working with manufacturing partners that are helping us make this better. It's very much a journey for us. And if you've been remotely happy with us up to this point, just think about
something right.
all the good that we're going to do the next 10 years with your help. Thank you for sitting down and explaining to me what you do, because I have no idea.
I just talk to you all day.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. We got a couple more of these to record over the next couple of weeks. So, thanks, Rikki.
See ya.
You are in the front lines. Text messages from the website, chat box, the phone. I got to sneeze.
Shut up.
Oh, man. Take 16. Take 18.
Like a bird just flew up against your window.
They run into it all the time.
Okay.
I don't understand.
I just saw it just crash into the window. Thank you.
Perfect. It's great for the blooper reel.
That's the same sneeze that I've been trying to get out of me since earlier. I'm telling you, funny people get the hot chicks.